I'm Joe,
And I'm Taylor.
and I'm going to tell you. The other day, I was watching the Young Turks. Do you know what the Young Turks is?
No, what is it?
It's like a news organization. They do independent news, things like that. And on the show, we talk to you a lot about bias, and we talk about government, we talk about politics, and just miscellaneous things about business, self-empowerment, things like that. So what gets irritating is when people talk about things because they have a bias and they don't know what they're talking about. So the Young Turks were talking about the housing crisis and about housing and why people aren't getting enough homes or why they're not able to compete. So Taylor, we talk about this a lot.
Yes, you tell me I can't afford a home. And I tell you I can't afford a home. And I really I want to afford a home, but I have to sit in apartments.
So the thing is that Taylor makes a lot of money. Him and his wife together make a lot of money. They make what is a good amount of money. What's the amount of money you guys make in the range?
120.
Okay, so in Orange County, the price for a home is about, you have to earn about $156,000 to afford a home in Orange County. Did you know that?
Yes.
Came out or whatever. Disappointing, right? Sad.
Yes.
And to be in the range of being poor or to basically not have enough money to get by, you are under about $80,000 a year. Now, most people would say, well, that's a lot of money, and that the problem is housing, or the problem is inflation, the problem is this. No, the problem is you, Taylor.
I can see that.
Millennials, things like that.
Oh, jeez.
Millennials get a lot of blame for everything. Rightly so. They pretty much deserve it. And baby boomers get too much credit for things. Like baby boomers say, well, when I was your age, I was able to buy a house. Well, the houses per the amount of salary that you made were a lot easier to obtain and a lot easier to buy back then. They are harder now, yes. But the biggest problem with millennials is they see houses as an insurmountable obstacle, as something that they can never possibly achieve. But you can achieve it. I've achieved it several times over. I own several properties. I'm independently wealthy. I'm trying to get Taylor his first property. You can do it. Anyone can do it. The problem is how you do it changes. How you obtain it changes from year to year, from time to time. Now, you hear the idea. There aren't affordable homes. You can't get homes. Well, while we're waiting for the government to solve all your problems, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get a home. Taylor, you interested?
I am.
He fits the category.
Now, we've talked about things that similar to this in the past. How is this different?
This is the precise way that you can compete in the market right now. Because what's the biggest problem with the market right now?
It's up. It's getting expensive, actually.
Yeah, harder and harder to compete, right?
Yes.
So what you need to understand is that there are less options now than there were before, because what happened was during the recession, houses were being built, and then all the companies left the houses uncompleted. Every house that was being bought was an existing house, and they didn't start up to being built again until around a couple years ago. So the houses being built now are not going to meet the demand of people buying houses until at least the next 3 to 5 years. So between this time buying a house right now, you're going to have the biggest crunch in getting a house. You're going to have a lack of inventory. So right now, there's a lot less options. So when there are a lot less options and you want to buy a home, you need to do things that you weren't willing to do before. For example, in a low inventory, you need to make concessions. So what's that, Taylor?
Like a stand, like we buy food at the stand.
Concessions, like you're going to concede to certain things, right?
Gotcha.
So you're going to concede to the area, the type of house, the type of upgrades it has. That's how you're going to buy a house now. If you don't want to do those things, you're not going to get a house right now. So I know you have a bunch of ideas of what you think you're going to get, but you're not going to get that. So when you talk about having a house, well, I want to be close because in LA, I'm next to my studio, next to this, next to that. Too bad. You're not going to get that. You're not going to be able to afford that. You're going to have to make concessions. Like you're going to have to commute. You're going to have to open your range for buying a house. Instead of buying one right in the middle of LA, you're going to have to go 30 minutes or more outside of LA for a commute. That's how you're going to buy a home. Also, you're going to have to expand your areas around. Areas that say a couple cities, you're going to look at every city within a 30-mile radius of where you are. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to raise your bid. Now, You're saying I can't afford a certain amount of home. No one's saying to not afford a home you can't pay for. I'm just saying that know what raising your bid actually means. If you mean raising your bid over buying a home right now, on the Young Turks, they said you can't compete with investors because investors are all cash. That's not true. I compete with investors all the time for all cash. It just depends on the offer. It depends on the house. If someone's selling the house that doesn't necessarily care about the money and they want somebody to move in and cherish their house in a great neighborhood and in a house that they grew up and lived in for the past 30 years, throwing in a letter and appealing to them saying, I want to raise a family here. I want to be able to buy a home in this area. That'll definitely help. They might want that more than they would want an investor buying their home, especially if it means an investor with all cash they'll pay $20,000, $30,000 less. They might be able to pick you over the investor because they like your story better. Or you could overbid. Maybe a person wants more money for their home. You can overbid 10, 15, 20,000. Because what's that on paper? 50, $100 a month on a mortgage payment? Who cares? You're not going to live there for 30 years anyways. You're going to probably live there for 5 to 6 years like everyone else and then move on. So when you're talking about overbidding, you're not talking about ever paying a real $10, $15, $20,000 over a property. You're talking about paying 50 to $100 more monthly payment at the amount of time you're going to live there, overbidding on the property. So in order to compete with cash buyers, you're going to want to do those following things. Maybe the house needs repairs. Maybe it needs some things that are going to be fixed up. Maybe the carpet's ugly. Maybe it needs paint. Maybe it's dated. Those are the types of house you'll be able to get. The problem isn't the fact that you can't find a home. The problem is the type of homes that are out there you don't want to get. And that's the real issue. The real issue is people wanting their dream home for their first home. Your first home is never going to be your dream home. It's going to be a starter home. That's why it's a starter home. Because you're going to have certain things that you're going to grow accustomed to. Maybe it needs yard work. Maybe it doesn't have great curb appeal. Maybe the backyard isn't that great. But that's the house you're going to get when you're buying your first home. The other thing is, what I really hate is when people talk about the real estate market, how they can compete, and how not to try or to not even attempt it, or the houses are too expensive right now. Because here's the thing. Taylor.
Yes.
You've been looking at houses lately.
Yes, I have.
How expensive are they?
They are slowly but surely. Actually, their prices are going up. I've seen prices that were down 400,000 in areas that I didn't want to live in, but I said, okay, well, these are the areas I could live in. That's okay. I could live with that. And those same houses in that area have gone up $20,000, $30,000 in the past couple of weeks. Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. We talked about before about setting certain advantages in your favor and certain things working against you for house buying season. Stop buying houses when everyone's buying houses. Stop buying houses in spring and summer times. Obviously, when everyone's out looking for houses, it's going to be harder. Look for houses in off seasons. Look for houses during the dead of winter. Look for houses that have been on the market for a long time. Those are the times you're going to be able to get great deals on housing still, even in a market that's going crazy. So right now, when Taylor's talking about looking for a house, he's looking like everyone's looking for a house. Looking when everyone's looking. The time that you're going to find a house is when people aren't looking. So when you're sitting there every day watching the prices go up, the prices next year, every year since you've been looking at houses, when did you start looking at houses? 2013?
Yes.
And every year, what has happened to housing?
Up and up and up.
It's went up and up and up, right? So what's the biggest problem here? The biggest problem is
they keep going up, and my weight stays the same.
They keep going up, and you haven't bought any of them. That's the biggest problem. Yeah. So that's the biggest problem with people is that you're expecting the market to work around your schedule. The market, it's not like South Park. It's not an all-encompassing being. The market isn't a real thing. The market isn't something that basically lives and breathes like the economy. The economy, we've angered the economy. The market is what it is, and the market's going to do what it does. So waiting for a recession or waiting for the price to go down, that doesn't matter. The problem is when you see something that you're ready to buy, and it's a good price, and you can afford the payment, then you need to buy it. And you need to not wait around and not buy it. That's the biggest problem I have with people that are buyers and investing and trying to get a house and trying to get their first home, is when the opportunity comes, you're not moving. That's the biggest problem. We're hearing about all the houses are too high and unaffordable. They weren't like this 5 years ago. And many of you were able to buy houses then and didn't do it. Why didn't you? Why didn't you buy houses in 2013, Taylor?
I wasn't looking more serious enough. I was kind of just, I was a thought I want to buy a house, but I wasn't serious about it.
And sorry, what's the problem when you're not serious enough and looking for houses?
Things that slip by.
The economy doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're serious. It doesn't care if you have the money. It doesn't care if you're ready for it right now. You need to buy a house when the factors line up. And here are the factors. Is the payment affordable for you? Is the price affordable for you? Is the area affordable for you? Did a house come up within your range in that time that you were able to buy? If all those things are true and you didn't make a move, it's your fault. You did it. Not the government, not affordable housing, not this, not what everyone will have you believe. It's you. You didn't do it. So here's the problem. You know what your factors are. You know personally based upon our videos. You know how much money you make. You know how much money you have. You know how much money you could spend. If the opportunity comes up and something doesn't fall within those ranges, it's your fault. So when you're looking for a house and you're looking for a year or more and something doesn't fall within that grip, you weren't looking because lots of things fall within that range. The problem is you need to be ready, you need to be watching, and you need to wait and see when it happens and then jump on it. That's Joe, and that's how you buy a house right now. Taylor, anything?
No, but you are Joe. You're correct. You are
That's
Joe.
true.
Also, I just want to say, I brain fart right now. So what if you are looking? What if you're diligently looking, and you expanded your everything, and is it okay to wait until, because we all know, or you've seen, you can see trends of the market going up and down like a roller coaster.
Yep.
Is it okay to wait? If you're comfortable enough, can you wait for that roller coaster to go down and the price to go down and then jump on it then during the off season?
Well, see, there's a different train of thought, right? How much money, it's all about time and money, right? How much money are you willing to lose in paying rent and avoiding a tax return in that time frame? So, for example, what if the market doesn't turn until 5 years from now? How much rent will you have paid in 5 years?
A lot.
Okay. So, for example, right? Let's just say in 5 years, let's make it easy.
Yeah.
Let's say you pay $10,000 of rent per year. And let's just say in 5 years, the market finally turned down and you were able to afford a home. How much did you overpay for the property, or will you underpay for when that time comes?
50 grand.
50 grand, right? Mm-hmm. So what you're factoring in is time versus money. How much time are you going to lose and how much money are you going to lose in the time that you're going to afford a home? So the market right now, there's a problem with it. The problem is that everyone buying homes now can actually afford these homes because Dodd-Frank has passed. So that means everyone has to have tax returns. Everyone has to have the money in the bank. Everyone has to have a strong down payment, a strong credit score in order to buy a home. So the problem is everyone buying a home right now, they can actually really afford the homes. It's not like before the market was going to crash because it's all funding money and no one's getting loans anyways. So you have to really see how much longer you're willing to wait because you've waited since 2013.
Yes.
How much money have you lost since then?
Quite a bit.
So at least 100,000 a home value, 150,000.
Probably, yeah.
Probably about there. So how much longer are you willing to wait that out?
Not very much long, but now it's going to be that ways along that the prices are going up now, and then essentially I am looking to lose more because the prices are keep going up. And there is no really ceiling. There's no ceiling it's going to hit and stop. It's going to keep going up as long as people keep buying them. They
definitely will keep going up. And overall, even if there's like short waves and bursts of like high and low, they go up all the time anyways because of inflation and because of the cost of goods and services, things like that. So they always go up because obviously if you have a house and you live in the United States and you go through cycles, everything goes up. Everything, no matter what it is. Gas goes up, houses go up, food goes up. That's just standard inflation. But I'll give you an example. When I was buying houses in Arizona in 2011, everyone bought houses for 40 grand and 50 grand, right? By the time I was buying them, I was paying 70 and 80 grand for them. So I faced your exact same situation, even when I bought houses in California and so on. The situation was they bought theirs for 40. I bought mine for 80. How much more can it go up without me losing money, right? Because I didn't want to lose money either, right?
Yeah.
But I realized something. Even if it doesn't go up as much as theirs went up, even if it goes up 10 or 20, I still didn't lose anything. It still went up. I just paid more for less return is what I paid for, right?
Yeah.
So eventually they did double in value. And eventually now they're worth like 160 or so. So I could double my money if I sold them right now, right?
Yes.
So if I could double my money if I sell the properties I have right now, I didn't lose anything. I didn't buy it for 40 and I didn't sell it for 160. I bought it for 80, and if I sold it for 160, I'd make 80. So because I held on to them long enough, I actually lose money. So if you buy a home and you buy it with these factors, with some things that are wrong with it, some things that you need to fix, from a person who wants to sell a home to a family in a neighborhood that is up and coming, you're never really going to lose money because you're going to hold on to it. So you're talking about if you bought a home and you sold it. Well, if you buy a home that is you can afford and you can over afford, if you buy a home that's in an okay area and that you're buying it undervalued because you're fixing it up, then in theory, you're not going to lose, because you lose when you overpay, right? You lose when you pay more money than you should pay for a product. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, if you buy 10% undervalue or 20% undervalue for a home, you have all that money to gain and you have all that money to lose that doesn't really get lost because you bought it undervalue. So the key factor here is just don't overpay. And these are ways to not overpay. So the biggest problem we're faced with right now is people that are millennials that are our age. They want to buy homes. They can't afford homes. And all the homes that are in the price range are getting swallowed up. So if you believe that problem is going to get worse because of lack of inventory and because of people buying, then you want to buy now. If you believe that problem is going to get better, then you don't want to buy because you believe more houses are coming on the market. They're not. Less houses are available. More people are fighting for less. So because of that, the houses are going to go up. So we do these predictions and we do these things in our videos all the time. We could check in 6 months and see where we are. We'll see how the politics is affected by it. We'll see what regulation does with our president. We'll see what Trump's ongoing Russia investigations do to housing. But for buying right now, doesn't look like they're going down anytime soon. So my advice, follow the factors and buy early and often.